The Say Something podcast is brought to you by amomentwithmorris.com and blackblueprints.com. That's blackblueprints.com. I'm Jermaine Morris here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius.
Yes, sir.
Bringing you the newest episode of the Say Something podcast.
Say something, say something, say something.
Yep, we get together talking about everything going on out here in the life, out here in the traffic, out here in these here streets.
In these cool streets. Yeah.
Just in time for the holidays.
Yes, sir. Come on, man. Let's get excited, brother. I know you've been working OT. Let's get it.
Yep, coming back at you with episode number 92 of the Say Something podcast.
Booyah, 92 with a slap in your face. I'm excited to see you, dog. I'm just happy.
I appreciate it. It's good to see you, too. I know it's these COVID streets a little harder to get together, and life has made it a little more difficult at times. But it's good to get together and converse about what's happening, what's going on out here and all that.
Yes, sir.
So it's always like to highlight a particular individual doing something for the culture, doing something for the community, whether they be past or present, or in this case, making moves for the future. This particular individual, coming out contemporary, she's coming out of Plano, Texas, and in a very short period of time has already started to make her mark as what she wants to represent, as how she wants to be seen, like the mark that she wants to leave on the world. That representation of young Black women is important. Being linked and tied to social issues is necessary. Using whatever platform that you're given, whether it be big or small, to speak life and positivity, but also to address the real world issues that are happening is something that she has kind of made her focus and in her direction. She's already at this point, in, like I said, a very short period of time, she's already, guest spotted in multiple TV shows. She's co-stars on a hit show already. She's already been nominated for Screen Actors Guild Award, as well as the BET Award, winner of a Young Artist Award, and a 9-time NAACP Award winner. Starred in a movie in 2019, which she also executive produced, all at the age of 14. She was just inducted into the Guinness Book of World Records for the youngest Hollywood executive producer on a major studio production, now at the age of 16. 16 years old right now. She was already put on Time's 100 Next list. She's already got plans of trying to get her Tyler Perry on and wanting to be in a position to start not only starring in and producing, but creating and owning and building and getting whatever voice and message that she wants to get out. I think it's important that we talk about a lot of times what we think the youth aren't doing or ways that we think that they're not moving. But this is shedding light and highlighting an individual. She was born Kayla, but she's known, her actor name is Marseille Martin. Get up for one time for the young sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's most notably Diane, the young daughter with the glasses on the show Blackish, with Anthony Anderson and Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yeah, she's doing her thing.
Yeah.
She does, she's doing her thing for real.
Yeah. I mean,
shout out to all Black entrepreneurship on every level.
Yeah, I mean, that's going hard in the paint. Young, 14 years old. She starred in that movie, kind of the remake to Big, that Tom Hanks movie Big, that was called Little. Was
that with Tiffany Haddish?
Did
she do a movie with Tiffany Haddish? No?
I think Tiffany Haddish might have been in it. I know. I think Issa Rae was in that.
Yeah. Okay. I have a story about Tiffany Haddish. Not now, but sometime down the line when we get more popular.
For some other time, yeah.
Yes, sometime.
When you end up on E True Hollywood Stories, or
man, like I say, when our podcast really blows up, I'm gonna really break it down, man. True Hollywood story, dog. But go ahead.
All that aside, we're technically what we refer to as the holiday season.
Yes.
Finished Thanksgiving.
Yes. Shouts out to all the vendors that showed up to Black Friday, Sacramento, and all the folks that put their things together all across the nation, organizers and Shop Black Friday across the board. We no longer are running in a boycott. We are creating our alternatives. Shouts out to all the entrepreneurs. Black entrepreneurship is at an all-time high, but we definitely need to do a lot more in ways of creating infrastructure, but continue the build. Shouts out to my partners in Black Friday Coalition for continuing to create spaces and platforms for our people to build. So we done came out of that. I know I came out of that. 5 streams of income happening all at one particular time. I mean, that's the build that I want to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we had Black Friday Sacramento out here with all the vendors. I poked my head. I was there on day 2.
Yeah, you was like 2.5 and I'm out.
Hey, you know, I made my appearance. But I had to keep it moving.
I see.
I had to keep it moving and shaking. But so what's just real quick before we get too deep, what was some takeaways from this year's Black Friday Sacramento?
COVID. The idea of having this pandemic, COVID-19, plays a particular part in us not building in a way or in a capacity, but I am also excited because Black businesses weren't just only affected. All businesses were affected. You had the mall that had numbers in the beginning, but then in the turnaround of it, the numbers weren't consistent. So it wasn't like people were just stuck at the mall. People were just shopping online. I want to say online shopping, including with the Cyber Monday, was $10 billion, right? Like it was it was crazy. And I asked myself, how many of those Black businesses got that 10 billion? You know, I know a lot of folks were shopping online with Black businesses, but I always will say that when I do these kind of events, you know, whether I'm solo or I'm in a collaboration with my business partners, I find out even in a pandemic or this situation that we're in, there will be those Black people that know what it is. Like, it's time to support, you know, nothing moves but the money. Because we just did Black Food Fest, and that was during the situations where you had the fire and people were crying about, the air conditions and all that. And you didn't have a heightened sense of urgency for COVID again, as you have now. I, in particularly, think the heightened urgency is because the vaccine's on its way. So folks want to scale it up 10 times more. I mean, but that's probably the conspiracy theorist in me, but that's just what I see. Right. So we didn't have to deal with the smoke, but we had to deal with more of the COVID. And in particularly, it was a good showing. Of course, last year was better. Folks made money. But what I've really, really, really seen, Black people are very greedy. Black people, they don't know how to value and appreciate a good thing. And we are always in our way. And I've seen that just to watch the backbiting, just to watch, you know, all of the things that I've heard in the background after the fact. And I don't think that folks really understand how difficult it is to create events like this, especially in COVID.
Customers, or are you talking about
customers? Are going to be customers, but you have other folks when you create things that they either hate, they're jealous, or they have something to say because they're watching folks do something that they probably thought in their mind they wanted to do and never do it.
Okay. Not people who are involved, just people from the outside.
Yeah. And people that it's just in the outside that want to be on the inside and want to kind of format the way they want to create our formula. But my whole thing is like, there's enough pie for everybody. We just got to make enough pie, you know? And I think that for me, in this moment, we should always be about the build. And I think that we set ourselves up when we're constantly at each other's necks about shit that's not relatively about the build. It's about complaining. It's about feeling you should have got more, but you didn't put anything in. Like literally, we set a format to where we did promotions, we did media, we did all this extra advertising in a space that majority would not have ever got this much run in 2 days, right? Yeah. In 2 days, we packed it out.
Radio commercials. And,
I mean, come on, man. We put people on. We put people on that don't even have these kind of connections or don't have the influence, nor do have the charisma, right? For folks to even want to check out your space to have an interview with. We're giving you freebies. And when you hear that niggas had an issue about certain things, valid issues, okay. But if you have an issue because you feel like you want to keep all the money, Like what I love about the Asian community and the Latino community, they all got the same shit, right? How many Taco Rios do you see in neighborhoods that are a majority Latino, right? You got the same, they're cooking the same taco, dog. You feel, I've said it before. Like the pozole might be a little bit different than this one, but all the shit is similar. Yeah, it's all pretty much the same, right? You know, the burrito here, take a steak out of here, maybe add a shrimp and some fries, whatever. And even with the Asian spots, it's all in particularly the same kind of dining. But you never hear them complain about that, you know, all across the street, you know, Hector is cooking the same thing as Camacho. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just see them cats just do what they got to do to make a living. And I don't know why Negroes always feel like competition is so bad. Only time competition is bad, in my point of view, is when we slander or we actively try to hate on the competition. And we're not trying to build or grow in ourselves and being a competitor. You know what I mean? And a competitor doesn't mean that I'm, you know, taking swipes at some person's situation, but I'm a competitor in a way of I am going to meet you head to head, like McDonald's, like a Burger King, like Wendy's. And don't get me wrong, they take swipes at each other here and there, but in reality, they're both burgers, but they're significantly different for whatever reasons. But guess what? They're both burgers. They're both burger companies, right? So when you look at the formula of what a lot of other folks do so easily, it's hard pressed for me to see how we gonna get out of this if the basic shit niggas ain't willing to do. And that's just kind of like where I seen it from my point of view.
Something that I saw, it's separate but goes together, which I thought was interesting over the last couple weeks. And so two incidences that happened in media, which I thought were important and I think ties into what you're saying. So one, they had that versus that Gucci and Jeezy. And what I thought was
you watched that?
No, but what I thought was interesting is because of all the history that they've had, you know, violence, like people talk about rap beef, like that's real beef that existed between those two, and they had reached a space, if nothing else, that I can amicably be in your face, and we can still be cordial. Now, you know, some of the lyrics when he's doing old songs was lightweight, disrespectful, but it was still something that they could function. The next thing was they did the reunion of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And there's been a 3-decade feud between Janet Hubert and Will Smith. You know, where she just kind of attested that he ruined her career after you know, getting her off that show, and the labels that he put on her and how mean and aggressive he was to just destroy her, just ruin her family, her livelihood, all that. And they had reached a point of reconciliation to where, you know, he spoke kind words to her. She's now kind of circulating around her name and starting to, like, I wouldn't be surprised if she's working in 2021. Like, he done lifted that negative veil off of her to get her working. And
Will Smith should be giving her a check.
Huh?
Will Smith should be giving her a check.
I'm sure she's probably going to end up, if not in one of his
Get
movies.
the apology, run that check of all the money that you did not allow me to make because Big Will Smith labeled me. Let's run the check. How about that?
But what I liked to see what came out of both those instances, and something that I think is not present in what you're talking about, is to at least a degree forgiveness and understanding. That you can have an issue that you cost me a bunch of money, you cost me my livelihood. One case between those two, you almost tried to take my life. You know, and there's a place to where you're no longer stuck where you were with that problem. And you talk about, well, what about the build? I don't think you can build with somebody who can't practice empathy or forgiveness. I don't think that there's room to build, because as soon as something's not perfect, that becomes the first little space in the bricks that you're trying to build with. You know, that we don't, there's not a degree of, if somebody had an issue with the way that Black Friday was run, this is still going to be their issue in Black Friday Sacramento 2021. You know what I mean? Like when it comes around again, it's going to be, oh no, man, Barry was such and such and whatever, such and such. Like that's what I mean. I think that's where a big issue of the lack of being able to build. You know, if you talk about those other cultures where you open up a restaurant across the street, They may be pissed that you opened up another taqueria. Keep it 100. I mean, if you had tacos on lock,
really is like, brother, they got strips of them. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm saying you just recognize that it is what it is, and you keep going. It just doesn't stop you. But if you had tacos on lock for a region, like if you wanted tacos, you got to go through me. Then all of a sudden, 2-3 other spots open, you feel a certain kind of way. You just don't let it stop you. You know, but I think when we get into situations, we get in our feelings, and the feeling stops everything in its tracks. Like whatever building you talk about doing, whatever camaraderie, whatever type of big picture, all that mess just comes to a halt. You know, and I think that's what makes it difficult, because we don't practice. Everything has got to be, you know, zero-sum game. Like minor beef has to go to death. You have to die for disrespecting me. You have to die for getting on my nerves. Your business has to close for getting my oxtails wrong. Like you can't just be, oh man, my beans was cold. Oh man, let me go get you a fresh plate, heat that up. Man, let me throw in an extra roll. Have a great day. It's gotta be, nah, Barry's beans is cold, and it was this and that. And I don't know why he talking about his food is good. He don't even know how to use proper temperature. We need to shut him down. Like It's got to be all that extra.
Facts.
You know,
I mean, I believe it. I believe it. Like I said, at the end of the day, man, you know what? You can't please anybody, and I know for a fact why I am the most disliked popular guy. I'm not here to try to, please everybody. Actually, I'm here to offend more people than I can imagine, to tell more truth than I can handle or they can handle. I mean, to me, I'm going to keep on building. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm going to do, because, again, during COVID, as hard as it's been, being an entrepreneur as well, and just having to circulate and navigate through all these stresses, and hearing some of my people going through it, from all walks of life, to be able to still have some adequate, opportunities and to be financially cool, where I'm not sweating every month. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to make more money. Right? Yeah. It's not a necessarily means of how I'm going to get money. It's how I'm going to make more money, so I'm all right. But I just think that when we talk about the build overall, the opportunities that we have as a community to really make it make sense, we too often strategize against each other because of the emotional leverage that I think that is so complicated in our community by doing things that are counterproductive, right? Because we react emotionally instead of strategically. Like, you should be wanting me to win. Me winning for the black community is a win-win, because I'm not going to be like some of these other Negroes. I'm bringing it back. I'm opening the doors. I'm saying, look at him, look at her, look at them, check this out. We need to do this over here, where most Negroes will just run and just, okay, and say a few good speeches and talk about, how they came up and, ain't helping no one come up. So my thing is, like, we got to stop with that goofy shit and consider the fact that once upon a time, y'all niggas had nobody walking through your stores, right? Nobody would have cared about going to Shop Black Friday in Florence Square. Not a damn soul. A lot of people don't even know that Florence Square is there. You know what I mean? You got individuals that have some ingenuity and perspective and know how to do this damn thing. I know people want to always say they do this, they do that. I rather do with a person that got a track record of real impact, not just because they do something. I want to see the impact. See and show me your legacy. Show me your work. Let me feel it. Let me see it. I am not bothered by conversation of what you think you are good at and what you say you are good at. I want to show me that you're good at it. Saying it is one thing, having a nice little picture of it is one thing. I want to hear about it. I want to hear the successes, because when I hear people spending like 150 maybe to do a vending, having a vending opportunity, so to speak, and making about 2,000 in the day or in the week, and folks who still were like made 5,000 last year pre, COVID, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, COVID, before COVID even came. And then this time they still made like 2,500. but they know because of COVID. I mean, I'm happy with that. I just think niggas got more time to complain than build. And if niggas built more than they complain, then we be in a better place. Because all we want to do, a lot of us, and when you see it, when we talk about it, I believe it. Negroes is just haters. We just hate on ourselves to the highest degree, to where I know there couldn't have been this many complainers and this many haters back in the day of our ancestors, because we didn't only build businesses, we built communities, right? Yeah. That's the trivia shit out of all this. We built communities. I mean, communities that had everything that we needed, you know, our own everything, right? And now here we are, steady focused on, okay, let's build some businesses that will help build those communities, but we could barely launch off the businesses. So it's always surprising. I mean, you do what you do, but I'm going to keep on building because there's benefits in the build. And as I go into greener pastures, you know, I know that my legacy is intact. Folks know what I got down and how I got down and what I did. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, I think that I believe that there was haters back then. It's just that wasn't a period at the end of the sentence. Like, you can be upset, dislike, have problems, beef, whatever, but that just didn't stop the machine.
Nah.
Like, you just talk mess about them as you worked. Yeah. The same way that you do it at your job. The same way that when you clock in somewhere and you saying all that mess under your breath about your supervisor. The same way that you talking all that mess about the person in the next cubicle. The same way that you do all that bad mouthing about how you just hate where you work, but you've been there for 24 years straight with no intentions of quitting until you're ready till you're a senior citizen. You can have all that negativity, but you can still continue to work. I'm just saying, if nothing else, apply that same mentality to when it comes to community work. If somebody don't like Barry, fine. Just like you don't like your supervisor, but you still go to work every day. Like,
and you make yourself look stupid when you really like show yourself that you really can't stand Barry or try to put Barry under the bus, and then it's like, damn, that nigga, I don't know, you know, he kind of really is that guy. You know what I mean? Don't be upset, man. It's my time. Just let me shine just a little bit longer. You'll have it, because once I'm done with certain shit, I'm like in a relationship. I'm on that Robert De Niro type shit that don't get with anything that you can't leave in 30 seconds or less. I'm on that heat shit. Like, when I'm done, I'm done. And there will be no coming back, because I've already seen the game for what the game is.
Yeah.
And this game of activism, this game of building for a bunch of, you know, unappreciative ass Negroes, it's really old, you know. And so I understand when Negroes get to a certain level, they're like, man, I'm good. I'm good off the Negro, because we're just so stuck again in this hateful nature. Like, you don't want to see Negroes really win. You really don't. And even when the Negroes is winning, I think that there's too many people trying to wait for the Negroes' big fall. It's almost like you're waiting for his or she's downfall. And that shit's crazy to me.
Wait a minute. Say that last part again. You cut out for a quick second.
I said, it's almost like Negroes is waiting for he and she's downfall. And that's crazy to me.
Yeah. What is it? What's stars? A hater is somebody who's financially frustrated. I think more often that disdain that we have, unless if it's nothing personal, like because you can legitimately dislike another human being, and that's in its own particular category.
And I like really, and I do often. I really don't like people.
Yeah, if that's the case, that's a particular category. But if you're somebody who just, when you see somebody winning, man, he got that brand new car. Man, you know that thing's horrible on gas. You know,
yeah.
He moved into that brand new house. You know, yeah.
That nigga got his mama to sign. Yeah. Like, you know, got his mama on the lease or some shit.
Yeah, if you're one of those individuals, usually it has nothing to do with the person you're talking about. It's just a direct correlation to how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. Well, I don't like people because they're fraudulent. They're liars. They're full of shit.
Well, I'm referring to those examples.
I'm not. I love niggas that, hey, if you getting it. But if there's a lot of niggas I just can't like. You're full of shit, dog. You a silly ass nigga, man. Come on.
Well, that's why I look at the significance, like I said, of those two examples of either a forgiveness completely to where we can actually establish a relationship and be cool, or at least a cordial acquaintanceship where we can both coexist. Like, we don't ever have to be cool. We don't ever have to hang out. We don't have to try to work together, but we can both coexist without the BS. And which is why I was glad to see it publicly, to show actual examples of two people who had one real beef, and one that the effects of how we talk and treat people have the detrimental effects, and that you can kind of walk it back and go from here. I think those examples are important, because we keep showing the running theme of tearing each other down. Yes, we have a running theme of talking mess about somebody and showing that, oh, let me knock them down a peg, and they think they too good, and they think they this and that. Like, having self-esteem is something you should be ashamed of, that you shouldn't be confident about your abilities. Now, I get everybody's like, you don't be arrogant and egotistical and all that. I get that. But in most cases, just something simply is, you're happy with yourself and you're proud of yourself. And you're, I do this well, and I'm speaking on something I do well. And there's people who, because A, you have the confidence to speak about what you believe, which is yourself, or B, you've actually figured out something you're good at.
Man.
And if they don't know what they're good at, two people start the race at the same time. You both laced up your shoes, the gun went off, and you go. Now, y'all are neck and neck for the first quarter of the race. You look down and look up, and you see this person halfway around the track that done passed you. All of a sudden, he got to be using steroids. All of a sudden, he was a false start. All these other things. Oh man, my there was a knot in my shoe. I had a pebble in my shoe. There's got to be all these things, as opposed to just saying, this person was more focused than I was. This person was more tapped in, or this person was just better at me than this in this particular field. And which is completely fine, because maybe the field that you're losing in is not the field you're supposed to be in.
Facts.
And taking that L is your indicator that this ain't the race for you. Like, you can't beat this person in a sprint. So maybe you're a distance runner. Barry keeps beating me in the 40-yard dash. Yeah, but Barry don't run 800s. You know what I mean? Like, she keeps, doing this, and we did at the same time, and we both met the two dudes at the same time. She's now married with her second kid, and that relationship for me ended 2 weeks later, and you on baby daddy number 3.
Facts. She
didn't luck out. You know what I mean? She didn't that's why I just think that when we're not compassionate, have empathy, have a degree of understanding, a degree of forgiveness for not only other people, but also ourselves, that build is just is next to impossible.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I think we work backwards with community building stuff. You can't just bring a bunch of hurt, wounded people and say, let's build money together. Because they're in a scarcity mindset. And everything is like, get back. Like I got $1 and I got to protect it with my life. I got a little bit of opportunity. I got a little bit of ground. I got to protect it. Because if I don't, you're going to take it from me. And you can't build with folks like that.
Not at all. I just, I think that, I'm happy what Will Smith is doing. And going into that Jeezy and Gucci, man, I don't know the significance and I don't know the hysteria of it. I didn't watch any of it. I thought it was a clown show. In the sense of listening to people like give us a play-by-play of it as if it was a presidential election or as if it was some kind of sporting event. It just kind of also speaks to the volume of ignorance that we love to chime in on, right? Because again, I get it, but then I don't, because we won't put that much kind of energy in anything else, as well as like the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. Whoever spent and wasted money off that, I think are just goofy, but that's what people want to do. But when you don't turn around and use that same energy on thus building platforms that are designed to help just the common folks win, that's when I have a problem with it. And then when you want to shoot down some of the common folks and criticize some of the common folks, but you never, ever, ever, ever speak and kind of, pinpoint some of the blames of where our outcomes are with some of the people that have access and just continue to evolve us around ignorance and stupidity, I have an issue with that. You know what I mean? So my thing is, I'm hoping that Will gives her a bag, but I'm also hoping that, she finds her truth in the idea after so many years. Will finally apologize. I think to me, yeah, but again, it's good for show more on Will than anything else, right? That gives Will a lot more kudos with him being such a megastar and him understanding how to constantly rebrand himself, right? How he's really understood how to stay relevant and how he really understood what a key of importance is that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was for his career. It really shot him to superstardom. To me, you don't often see a lot of actors or entertainers or whoever really understand the routes of how they got to be as successful as they are now is because of the smaller things. Like, who would have known Fresh Prince, that TV show would have been iconically recognized the way it is, to where folks are, holding their breath for this reunion, right? This reunion kind of series, as well as the merch that's come out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that gives everybody a check, and salute to that. But let's dive into some of the fuckery, dog. Let's dive into some of the fuckery. When we talk about an artist like Will Smith and how he's transitioned from a rap artist to a iconic figure. Yeah. I have to say, brother, when I go and look at the Gucci Mans and I go and look at the Jeezys, and they even have graduated somewhat from a little bit of the fuckery. They're still around the fuckery, but a little bit of the fuckery, and have become, elder statesmen. I would love to challenge some of these elder statesmen of hip hop, rappers, to sit there and talk to our young life, because we have lost more rappers probably within the last 2 years. And 2020 has been astronomical. And maybe it's because hip hop has become more of a go-to kind of what I don't even want to call it a job, but an occupation, right? Where you have a lot more art, you have a lot more people saying, I'm going to be a rapper. So time and fashion, when I've heard of deaths that happen with rappers in regional areas, like there was one of my favorite artists from RBL Posse. For those who San Francisco know about RBL Posse, his name was Mr. C. He got tragically shot. A rapper by the name of Seagram from Oakland, who was signed to rap a lot. More regional rappers when I was in the Bay Area, you heard about them, boom. And then other folks probably had those regional artists. Yeah. It seems because the world has got a little bit bigger because of the internet, you have these more local regional rappers who may have internet popularity more or less than not really have national popularity. No. It has been a killing spree to where you have your big artists and then you have your like regional artists that are pretty big in the internet worlds and those kind of circles, where it's just been a hit on rappers. And not only a hit on rappers, it's also been the indictment on rappers. So not only are rappers dying, you have rappers being indicted with numerous things, with its the gang injunctions, where it's racketeering charges, where rappers are getting caught up in these EDD scams and so on and so forth, drug dealing. And you have a guy by the name of Casanova from Brooklyn. You got a guy by the name of G Herb from Chicago. These two young up-and-coming artists. Matter of fact, G Herb was just put on. He was on the top under 30 for Forbes magazine with hip-hop artists, I guess, really doing a thing. But to hear that he's got indicted by the feds for just all kind of different scams and creating this lavish lifestyle that might not have been as lavish as we thought it was from the record sales. And of course, Casanova 2 times, who used to, he was locked up before, and this real kind of guerrilla gangster, bravado, his crew gets hit with all kind of racketeering charges, similar to how 6ix9ine and his crew got hit, similar to how Bobby Shmurda and his crew got hit, similar to how AR-Ab and his crew got hit in Philly. These rappers, and listen to Uncle B right now, these rappers are promoting so much death culture that not only are guys like King Von dying at an early age because of their gangster lyrics, and Mo 03 dying at an early age because of their gangster lyrics. These rappers are now catching case to case. And I don't know. And then there was other rappers that got killed this week a rapper by the name of Paid Will in Detroit, a rapper in San Francisco by Little Yeast, Little Yes, or I don't know, something like that. I don't want to say Little Yeast, but he's a, again, we wouldn't even know him if it wasn't for the internet. But these artists are getting killed. And one other particular artist who was connected to Fetty Wap, literally, bro, I watched his execution live, and it was one of the most sickest things. And this shit is getting spun around the internet, where he literally was walking to his car was parked in the middle of the street, had no idea it was coming, and they ran up on him. Them young boys, pulled his melon out, and he then flipped on the floor like a beach whale. And he, like before, when we were coming up, Tupac and Biggie, those deaths meant something. In 96, Pac, in 97, Biggie, and the industry as a whole, I believe, said to themselves, this is bad for business. Yeah. Where in the reverse, in the age of the video beef, and in the age of 50 cents, this is not to blame him, but the notoriety started happening when Tupac came out and was like, I got shot 5 times, blah, blah, real ends don't die. And it was like, yeah, wow, Pac is invincible. And then you got Snoop Dogg beating a murder charge. Like, whoa, Snoop Dogg beat a murder charge. And of course, there was a little few things here and there that some of these artists started to brag about. Yeah. When 50 Cent came, he shot that whole thing out the water, where not only did he create an atmosphere that getting shot, surviving, and then beefing with those who allegedly were involved with it and destroying their career, creating beef into real marketable dollars. And it really made sense. Kind of took it a turn to the worst on where we with Pac and Biggie were like, y'all, bad for business. He found the formula that made it good for business. And it seems like this has become a current trend. Yeah. Now that the world is so big with the internet, we're seeing more and more beefs play out locally, nationally, and really having dead end circumstances. By the mean of dead end circumstances, rappers are really dying with street connection, street ties, and beefs. This is no longer rappers having security and making sure that, yeah, there might be some confrontations here and there, but there's too many artists that are still too connected to the streets. If you're not getting killed, you're getting indicted. And this has become hip-hop.
Yeah, so I think something that I separate personally. So they talk about all the time, like if you go to predominantly black areas and you say, well, why do all these black guys always play basketball as opposed to certain sports? And the major reason why, it's not because necessarily we just have an affinity for basketball. When we play soccer, we're great in soccer. When we play water polo, we're great in water polo. You'll find a lot of areas that predominantly where we play basketball is because it's cheap and it's accessible. All you need is a ball. That's it. A lot of other sports are way expensive, like for the equipment and all that. And so there's a lot of people, there are basketball players and there's people who play basketball. Like, basketball players, them dudes do the AAU tournaments. They play all summer long. They eat, sleep, and breathe basketball. That's what they do. Rap to me is why like people choose rap. It's like they choose basketball. It's easily accessible and it's cheap to do. And I think that there's a difference between rappers and people who rap. And you have a lot of people who rap who they're not in it for, well, how can I change culture? How can I inform about what's happening? How can I leverage my talent to change my situation, to better what I'm doing, to better where I'm at, and to better the people I care about? No, I'm on some stupid stuff, and I just happen to rap. And so you get these people who that's just what they do. It's not they're not in it for, when you think back, historically with the groups, with the Accius and Tribe Called Quest, and the groups that had messages as well as party songs that had, they may have had some ratchet stuff, but then they also had songs with messages, like people who they cared about the image that they portrayed. They valued creativity and individuality. Like, they were rappers. Just there are basketball players. These folks out here now just rap. They on some stupid stuff.
No. They are street guys trying to rap.
That's it. So because people blend the two together. and they'll say, "Oh, all rappers are they just a stack of money to their ear and they do this." No, those are people who rap. Like those are people who they just let me get the Draco. Let me.
But here's the thing. Besides everything that you're saying, the point of view that I'm saying to you, that once upon a time, in particular, beef, Snoop Dogg having like a body on his head, having to fight that trial, the notoriety of it is one thing. Tupac going back and forth, that shit was messing up business. If Pac could be now alive, right, and well, with the multiple cases that he incurred while he was living, right, in a short amount of time, remember, because he died at 25.
Yeah, his whole career was only 4.5 years.
That Negro would have probably been the highest selling artist in this particular time frame now, because that's the type of shit that sells. Literally, the young dude, King Von, gets killed, right? He gets killed. And with that simply being said, King Von gets killed, and unfortunately, as tragic as it is, King Von was killed by his own negligence and his own super gangster mentality, right? Not feeling the energy, not trying to pay attention to the people around him. He looks at it, I'm King Von, I'm Chicago's Grim Reaper, and this little peon that I'm about to go take out, he's just exactly what he is, a peon. He's goofy, not knowing that the goofies also got the shooters. So saying him, he does what he does, he gets killed. Instead of those brothers whose crew got King Von, who's a popular artist, underground wise, instead of them being quiet, what do? They talk. They make a song about it. They rap. They actually, the dude, Rondo, because everybody knows it, so I'm not saying anything different. The artist actually makes a song and is now doing these multiple different things, kind of dissing King Von, his legacy, his crew, in a way to where you have now King Von, in a sense, his memory is not going to be lifted up. It's actually going to be looked at as like, how are they letting this crazy ass little dude talk shit? And he's now trying to build a career off of I killed King Von or got King Von killed. And to me, that's horse shit in so many different ways, because rap music used to be a way out, not keep you stuck in. And that's my point. Artists, they are playing themselves to the flute of the drums of an industry that don't give a damn about you. And at the end of the day, after you go, there'll be another one that replaces you and another one that replaces you. And the unfortunate part about this whole thing, without having, a lot of artists have to be coerced to the industry, there's so many different independent artists that you don't really need a record label that's going to sit there and tell you it's bad for business.
Yeah. Well, I think also that something that we don't discuss enough when we talk about where hip hop music is now. So the hip hop that we grew up on, that I think people forget, those rappers are not children of hip hop. So you go Run DMC, even if you go NWA, you go Wu-Tang Clan, you go, the Tribe Called Quest and EPMD and Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and all, they're not children of hip hop. They're children of Smokey Robinson. They're children of Kool and the Gang. They're children of James Brown. They're children of Stevie Wonder. They're children of Aretha Franklin. Like, that's who raised them. So this group now is raised by the byproduct, that wave that came after.
Chief Keef.
Yeah. So when you look at, you gotta remember, these kids now, they're raised under the Soulja Boy era. These are kids, these are children of 2000s.
Chief Keefs, the Lil Waynes.
Yeah. So the difference is that when we look at, well, how come Stetsasonic was this? How come, KRS-One was that? Because of what they're the children of. They came from a foundation. Even if maybe their childhood or their family structure wasn't perfect, what the environment was and what they were birthed out of was a completely different set of rules, with a completely different agenda, with a completely different mentality.
Facts.
These kids now in 2020, These are Kanye babies.
I think the Kanye babies ain't shooting nobody. I'd say Chief Keef and the things of that nature. These are the Pill Popper babies of Mac Dre and shit like that, man.
So just Kanye briefly. I'm talking about the emotional explosions, the erratic behavior,
break
the
it
lack
down.
of accountability.
There you go.
So they may not be
gotta break it down. You can't, you gotta break it down.
Pulling the trigger, but so you take a Kanye baby with those traits. You take a Wayne baby with the lean and all that. Then
the Mac Dre baby with the pill popping.
And mix it with a Chief Keef baby who's a trigger man. But then you mix it with a Soulja Boy baby who's all about lying and fronting. So this is who these kids, this is who they're the children of.
Listen, they don't want to hear that breakdown, dog. They don't want to hear it.
That's who they're the children of.
The truth needs to be told on this podcast, man. Say something, man. We're trying to save our hip hop and our young people, man. These are the children.
My favorite rapper is Ice Cube. He's always been my favorite rapper. But Ice Cube came from a two-parent household with a daddy who's still in his life today.
That's crazy. You would
never know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you would never know.
But so he could work a certain way with stuff that he put out, but he actually came from something. You know, like he came from a foundation of rules and structure, and you know what I mean. Like you take,
but that was also a stage of where presenting, right, to be a street soldier in a sense of here are me being a prophet or a not a conductor of the madness, but a overseer watching it, right? So I'm giving you the tales, right? From a narrative standpoint, not subjecting myself from, no, I'm actually doing it.
Yeah.
It was okay. Now, there's no. If y'all going to talk about it, you better live it and be about it. That becomes a bigger problem.
Which is why I said that's that difference. Because those older groups that Scarface and the Ghetto Boys, and you find dudes, you know, Jay Prince and all, they was doing their stuff in the streets. But the fact is that there was a big picture.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Jay Prince, but
Jay Prince has always been,
yeah. So, I mean, but it's like Suge, you know, there's some folks.
Well, a smarter version of Suge.
Yeah, so
way smarter.
Yeah, so if you take those guys, like I said, when we always talk about hip hop that we grew up on, MC Lyte and you know. All them you're talking about, like I said, they came out of blues, they came out of R&B, they came out of soul, they came out of music with messages, they came out of, you know what I mean, like
a message for the struggle that wasn't diluted with destruction. These messages now are messages of destruction. Clearly, these messages ain't uplifting. These messages ain't of empowerment. This message is of kill my brother.
Yeah, not
because you know my brother is in competition with me on the block, but kill my brother. And that's kind of what we are raising. We're raising the killer babies. They're killing more Negroes than the Klan. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, there's a big component that goes and why I separate those two generations is because there was a real breakdown of black families and structure after 1970. So you take a lot of those rappers that we grew up on, a lot of those rappers have daddies. And that's a very big component when you have both parents and you have balance and you have different insight. There's no balance now. NWA could put out, you know, the most shoot 'em up music, but they also put out Express Yourself. You know, Ice Cube could put out Kill It Will, but he could also put out It Was a Good Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Pac could put out, you know, That's Why I F'd Your, you know, the first song, but then he could also put out Brenda's Got a Baby. You know what I mean? Like there was multi-layered, multifaceted, but these kids now are not balanced.
Shoot them, kill them, Negro. Shoot them, kill them. Kill them, pop it up.
Yeah.
Pop them up, kill them up. Kill them.
Shoot you in the chest, style, wet you.
Kill you back on murder.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I gotta tell you, like there was
sign up to be a rapper. To sign up to be a rapper right now is to know you have to be the most gangsterous of gangster Negroes and understand that you're gonna catch a body or a body's gonna catch you.
If you're black, and this is the part that I think that you can be Lil Dicky and rap about whatever you want to rap about,
Yeah.
And you're completely accepted and it's fine.
And then you can be the other little rapper, that little white kid that got a whole bunch of the artists. It's a nice song. I like it, actually. I was like, who is this? My daughter's like, he's white, Dad. I said, damn it. Because I still say that for my culture, because I'm still upset that Macklemore, or whatever the hell that dude was, had a run in fuck the Grammy.
Beat Kendrick for the best album of the year.
But had a run like that. They really try to nurture us, into believing like this was the new steps of hip hop. But guess what? It is going to be. Because the Negroes is going to kill themselves off, and all you're going to do is have white rappers.
Well, they're going to do to hip hop music what they want to do with the NBA.
Or what they did with rock and roll.
Well, let's draft these overseas players. Let's get these other guys and change the game.
That didn't work.
Well, I'm saying the premise.
They can't. They can't jump out the sky. Don't have to. You just need
no. You don't have to overtake it. You just need enough to dash around.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like I said, I know they're doing the Luka thing. They're so hyped up on him. He might be the next Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, all mixed up.
That's what they want.
Yeah, I know that.
They want Eminem.
They
want Elvis Presley.
Yeah, they've done a better job at hip hop than they've done with what's it called, athletics, like sport, especially when it comes to NBA. It's not. I don't think the NBA was going to happen.
I give it some time.
I think as long as niggas can fly through the air and believe they can fly.
That's why that's why they emphasize the scoring and the 3-point shot.
Hey, that's why
Curry
could be the downfall.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. To negate
the light-skinned assassin could be our downfall.
If you can shoot the ball from half court, that negates your ability to fly.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Going back into the hip hop, and when you talk about the Anglo-Saxons really developing more of a career, when I said this to my Facebook folks, hey, do country music? Does country music have this much violence? What's the last time a country music artist been murdered? Like it was
by his wife. I think there was a guy who was. I think it was his wife or his ex-wife, something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're
not saying that these country artists don't have no beef.
Yeah, George Strait wasn't rolling up on Garth Brooks, waiting for him after the concert.
I mean, Johnny Cash probably might be the most gangsterous country music dude aside to Willie Nelson. Yeah. And they were able to coexist where we were able to see two of our legends get murdered. And in the simple fact, in the love of Nipsey Hussle and his great legendary young career, and not legendary as just an artist, because I think he became legendary because we got to see what he was planning, right? Yeah. What he was really planning. That's what created the legendary status of him, because it was the plans that he had, the things that he was working out that nobody was watching and seeing. Yeah. To look at that and see that they have not even stopped one bit or second to slow down in his untimely death, in his untimely demise. Negroes have just killed aimlessly, recklessly, without forgiving. And this is not saying that the Negroes that are getting killed are not to blame for some of the things that they might have had coming to them.
Some of them have participated
in. But you used to know that hip-hop used to be a place where this was our getaway, not our entrapment. This has now become entrapment. This has now become, how can I be as gangster, or how can I be as prolific as this mega alpha super Negro that's untouchable on the internet, right? Who no one can test and nobody can flex on, and my crew is cock diesel. How can we elevate, right, to be the status where it's going to get us likes, follows, shares, and we really become, not by the standards of what you say mainstream media, but by the media that is more directly and connected to our young people that are going to really just submerge in the fuckery. But it also does one thing. It continues the fuckery for some of our older cats who can't let this shit go, who don't know how to transfer and show the young bulls. I blame hip-hop artists, the older ones, a lot for what we're dealing with right now, because they can say a lot of shit. Like T.I. always seems like he's putting his foot in his mouth. When King Von got killed, he said all this weird shit. And, of course, he retracted his statements. But it's like, you know why a lot of these young niggas is doing what the fuck they do? Because y'all niggas didn't give them opportunity. And I understand about opportunity. Because as I was coming up, and I was climbing up to the to rankings of what I'm doing in my life, OGs wasn't giving me opportunity. And so when you don't get opportunities, like think about hip hop for a second, right? You have all of these made rappers, and they're still trying to rap. Like, don't get me wrong. I like a Jay-Z verse here and there, and a Jay-Z album we cool, but I want to hear about you and see your understudies. I like Fabulous. That's one of my favorite rappers. But Fabulous, who you got under you? You know what I'm saying? Like T.I., all right, cool. You came out with an album. But can we hear about all the other artists that you will come and help raise and bring to the platform, to the forefront?
Bill, yeah.
You know about, not no white girl that you try to help take over hip hop due to the simple fact that you probably had to give a favor to a favor because they helped you get out of prison. But that's another conversation to talk about. But when you look at hip hop and you look at it being what it is, you don't have the emergence of super talents coming from the so-called super talent that we had in the past. You're not seeing Jadakiss pass the baton and say, yo, this is my young bull. Because I used to see it when artists used to create their labels, right? So Jay-Z creates his label, and now he's bringing in Beanie Siegel. Now he's saying, yo, here's Memphis Bleak. Now, and then now they're going, here's Memphis Bleak and Beanie Siegel. Well, here's my guys, right? So it could create a business transaction, right? In a sense of, I'm going to create this legacy under Rockefeller. So when I'm done, we got the next wave coming. They don't have it like that. So when you don't have things like that, that's creating that passing of the torch. And those young bulls got to go get it on their own, and they get it on their own and they find a formula. Boop. Here comes the Soldier Boy, the first little Negro to really utilize internet, YouTube, to where it created a sensation. Like, whoa, what the hell is this? This is something new. As corny as it was, this dude broke something that other folks were perplexed to try to really tap into because they was stuck on their old ways. He created a different genre. And so when that idea, for me, watching the elder statesmen not having a real hold on what's happening now in hip hop, no accountability, because they have not helped. They have not helped groom the next big artist. They have not mentored the next big artist. This is what creates what we have right now, is the destruction of our music on so many different levels.
Yeah, this is definitely a subject that we can touch on later and get a little bit deeper, because I think it carries over not into just hip hop, just so much when it pertains to our community. These are things that we have to make sure that we address, that we touch on, that we speak on. It's more than just, hating from the peanut gallery or shaking our fists on the front lawn about the stuff that we don't like seeing, but getting actively involved, getting engaged, and definitely saying something about it. For more riveting conversation like this, where can folks find you online, sir?
Everything Barry Accius, man. Everything Barry Accius. And, of course, Black Blueprints with a Z.com on IG and on Facebook. But everything Barry Accius, Twitter, Facebook, and IG.
Yep. I'm Jermaine Morris on Facebook. Every other social media platform is at J Morris CEO. It's been the Say Something podcast. Say Something with Jermaine Morris and Barry Accius. Yep. And until next show, we will holler at you later.
Don't kill no more rappers.